Hello everybody. Today we'll talk about David and Goliath. The biblical account of David and Goliath is one of the most popular stories from scripture and dates back all the way from the 4th century. It's a lesson of courage, faith and overcoming what seems impossible. David was the youngest of Jesse's 12 sons. One day, the nation of Israel was called to fight the Philistine army that had gathered for war. While David's brothers went to fight, young David stayed back. The two armies gathered to stand on opposite sides of a deep valley. A great Philistine giant named Goliath that stood at over 9 feet tall came to the front of the Philistine battle line each day for 40 days and mocked the Israelites and their God. Goliath called to them to fight, but King Saul and the Israelites were scared and did nothing. David was sent by his dad Jesse to visit the front lines and bring back battle news from his brothers. David heard Goliath mocking the Israelites and their God. David was brave, and when he heard that the king will give great wealth to the man who kills Goliath, he will also give him his daughter in marriage and will exempt him from taxes in Israel, he volunteered to fight Goliath. He persuaded King Saul to let him go fight and decided to not wear any of King Saul's armor. David carried his sling and gathered 5 smooth stones. Goliath laughed at David, but David responded that even though Goliath had a sword and spear, he came in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of Israel. David put a stone in his sling and swung it at Goliath's head. The stone sank into the giant's forehead and he fell. David then picked up Goliath's sword and used it to kill Goliath and cut off his head. The Philistines turned and ran away when they saw their giant hero killed. Israel had won the battle because of a boy who had faith and trust in God. Now there are 5 powerful life lessons from David and Goliath story that you can learn from, and they relate to almost any situation today. Here are the 5 life lessons. The first is, be bigger than your fears. Twice a day for 40 days, Goliath would challenge the Israelites, demanding a one-on-one battle. All the Israelites were as terrified as a lion's prey on the verge of death. None of them would dare to challenge Goliath, but after David heard about the reward for defeating Goliath, that he accepted the challenge as if it were nothing but a child's game. When David confronted Goliath, who had armor and a javelin, all David had was a staff, sling and 5 stones. Not to mention he was like a baby in size compared to Goliath, but this didn't stop him. David could kill the Goliath because the Israelites were smaller than their fears and David was bigger than his fears. But are you? If you are not, you will end up settling for the things that are less than your fears, and you will be enslaved by your fears no matter what situation you are in or what decision you need to make. Look at things logically, look at the facts, get out of your head and take action, because W. Clement Stone once said, your thinking will never overcome your fear, but action will. What is the second lesson? The second lesson is, size doesn't matter. In life, you are bound to come across tiny, small, big, and enormous challenges. But the size of the challenge, problem, or obstacle is irrelevant. Why? Because that doesn't determine what's possible for you. The only thing that determines what is possible for you is you, your mindset, and your beliefs. If size mattered to David, he wouldn't have had the courage to take on Goliath, especially with just a staff, 5 stones and a sling. He took Goliath's size in a different perspective, that he was too big to be missed by a sling stone. David knew size doesn't matter. It's belief, courage and commitment that matters. You can apply the same principle and same level of thinking to your life and the challenges you are facing. Think bigger than the challenge, be bigger than the obstacle, and act as if it's impossible for you to fail. Have self-confidence, conviction and belief in yourself more than the challenge to be handled. The third lesson we learn from this is make use of what you already have. Many people complain about what they don't have before they start anything. But the truth is, you have to make use of what you already have. Compared to the armor and the weapons Goliath had, David seemed insignificant. After all, he only had a sling, 5 stones and a staff. Yet he made use of it, and it happened to be more than enough to get the job done. He still defeated Goliath regardless of the comparison in weight, strength, armory, weapons, etc. David didn't mourn because of the differences like the Israelites would have. He had a so what attitude and left everyone in shock after defeating Goliath so effortlessly with nothing but a sling and a stone. So stop making excuses. If you want to start a business, improvise and use what you already have. Want to start singing? Record through your phone if you are not ready for the studio. Want to make YouTube videos like this one? Record videos through your phone instead of complaining about needing expensive equipment. Want to be a graphic designer? Watch tutorials on YouTube instead of moaning about not having Photoshop yet. Doers start with whatever they have and don't moan about what they don't have. The fourth lesson we learn from this story is believe it's possible. The Israelites didn't believe it was possible to defeat Goliath. That's why they feared him. Their self-belief, if rated on a scale of 1 to 10, was hardly more than 1. But on the other hand, David's belief was 10 out of 10 on the same scale. That's why it wasn't an issue for him to challenge Goliath head on and even take him down. And don't forget, David turned down the offer for armory, which proves he strongly believed it was possible. So do you believe whatever you are doing to realize your dream is possible? Without a strong belief that whatever you are pursuing is possible, you will fail. You will quit on yourself before you even get halfway. Think of it like the guy who is too afraid to approach the girl he likes. How come he won't approach her? His self-belief isn't strong, so he quits on himself without making a move. If your fears are stronger than your self-belief and faith, you shot yourself in the foot without knowing it. Until you believe in yourself more than the fear or the obstacle, you will continue to quit on yourself. Greek writer Nikos Kazantzakis has rightly said, in order to succeed, we must first believe that we can. The fifth lesson we learn from this story is don't underestimate your capabilities. It's always dangerous to underestimate yourself. When you underestimate yourself and your own capabilities, you end up achieving less. Judging how Goliath looks and appears compared to David, you would think Goliath was the superior one. But the outcome of the battle turned out to be a lot different than the Israelites expected. David didn't underestimate his abilities or himself. He had self-confidence and lots of it. He was smart enough to know that he was more than capable of succeeding. Stop underestimating yourself. It doesn't matter if you are a writer, a pianist, a plumber, a real estate broker, a personal trainer, or a musician, or parent, or college student. You are capable of much more than you believe. You've just yet to see it because you haven't given yourself the chance to. If anything, you should be overestimating, because then you will end up giving and doing more than is expected, and you will end up achieving more and reaching your potential in the process. So that's all for today. If you like this video, then like, share with others, and if you still haven't subscribed to our channel, then please do it right away. See you in our next video. Till then, namaskar. Thank you.